Hello and welcome back. Today we'll begin talking about different categories of rocks in the rock cycle. Rocks are solid and can consist of a single mineral, or it can include a variety of different minerals. Rocks are classified into one of three groups: igneous, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Igneous rocks form as a result of magma or lava, which is molten rock that has cooled and solidified. Magma is developed underground either in the lower crust or upper mantle as a result of intense heat. The difference between magma and lava is that magma is underground, whereas lava is magma that has erupted from either a volcano or a fissure. If magma cools in the earth, this is known as intrusive igneous rock, whereas lava cools on the earth's surface, this forms extrusive igneous rock. The composition of magma plays a role in the type of rock that will form and are mostly comprised of the following 8 elements: oxygen, silicon, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and along with some others. With oxygen being the most abundant element in magma, followed by silicon. Depending on where the magma originated in the crust determines the elemental composition. For example, magma that originated from the mantle tend to have a higher composition of iron, magnesium, and calcium. I would also like to point out that because rocks are comprised sometimes of a mixture of minerals, this can cause a rock to partially melt as a result of each mineral having a different melting temperature. Igneous rocks are classified into 4 categories: felsic, intermediate, mafic, and ultramafic. Depending on the composition of the igneous rock, determine which category it falls under. The following table describes the chemical composition that is typical for mafic, intermediate, and felsic igneous rocks. Keep in mind, ultramafic igneous rocks have very low silica composition, less than 45%, for example, peridot. Sedimentary rocks are formed by the accumulation of rock particles that have been transported by wind, water, ice, or gravity. Sedimentary rocks are formed when these fragments have been compacted together by being buried or compressed. When we talk about sediments, we are referring to loose rock material, for example, sand or mud, on the bottom of a riverbed. The formation of sedimentary rocks is caused by erosion, weathering, dissolution, precipitation, and lithification, where erosion is caused by wind, water, or ice wearing down the earth and transported to another location. Weathering refers to the earth breaking down rocks, soil, and minerals by wind, water, and/or organism. The main difference between erosion and weathering is that erosion, the particles are transported elsewhere, whereas weathering occurs in place. Dissolution occurs when a mineral or solid is dissolved into ions in a liquid, typically water. In contrast to dissolution, precipitation of sedimentary rocks is the formation of rocks when dissolved materials come out of water. Lithification is when sediments are compacted gradually into solid rock as a result of pressure. Metamorphic rocks are when an existing rock has undergone heat and/or pressure to transform it. Think about a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly, but in this case, the rock is transforming into another rock. Under these conditions, the temperature is not high enough to actually melt the rock, and typically metamorphism occurs above 150 degrees Celsius. This now brings us into the next part of our conversation, the rock cycle. So far, we have covered igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks, where both igneous and sedimentary rocks began as something other than a rock. But it is important to note that different geological processes can transform any rock into a new rock. For example, igneous rocks are the result of cooling magma above or below the Earth's surface. An igneous rock or metamorphic rock can be transformed into sedimentary rock by undergoing weathering, lithification, or sedimentation, and vice versa, where sedimentary rock or metamorphic rock can undergo melting and crystallization to transform into an igneous rock. Where both sedimentary and igneous rocks undergo heat and pressure, can deform and recrystallize into metamorphic rock. Keep in mind, each of these rocks can also undergo geological transformation to reform the same type of rock. In today's discussion, we mentioned different categories of rock and the rock cycle. Thank you for joining me today, and have a wonderful day. And also, rock on!